Everyone out there in TV land, I want to say good morning to the ones that here with us this morning. Now we're at Silver Spring at Sunday School Hour, where our pastor Reverend Ron R. Jones, and we got another good lesson today. Like you said, all of them is good. Another, like you said, good teacher. I always enjoy hearing them teach. And before we get started, if I could ask for a volunteer to lead us in prayer. Amen. At this time, Deacon Houston, it's your time.
I'd like to say good morning.
Again.
I'd like to say good morning again. Good to be here today. Good to be in Lord God's house one more time. All right, the lesson today is your Sunday school book, going to be on page 60. Page 60, and the title is The Resources to Rebuild, lesson 10. Background passage, Ezra 1, 2, 64 through 70. Print passage, Ezra 1, 1 through 8, 11, 2, 64 through 70. And the key verse is, and some of the chief of the fathers, when they came to the house of the Lord, which is at Jerusalem, offered freely for the house of God to set it up in his place. Ezra 2:68. Can I get somebody to read the intro, please?
Years ago, and possibly in some places today, the saints would sing, "I'm so glad trouble don't last always." To express the delight that troubles, tough times, and even hardship do not last forever. In the same way that problems don't last forever, neither should punishment. This is especially true with God. God's anger is imminent, but not eternal. The psalmist says his anger lasts but a moment. The weakness associated with God's justice lasts for the night, but the joy of God's restoration comes in the morning. Psalms 30:5. Yes, God, the source of justice, does dish out retribution for wrong, but God, as the source of justice, also measures in restoration. We will discuss and discover this important precept in our lesson today. God in one swoop punishes the Babylonians and blesses the Israelites with the rise of the Persian Empire. Whereas the Babylonians were the instrument of God's punishment, they were unnecessarily cruel to the Israelites, and for that received recompense. The Persians came to power, and because of their imperial policies, they allowed Ezra and others to return home and commit to building what was lost generations earlier. God restores one and brings down another. It is a matter of God's decision.
All right, thank you. So the song saints were saying, "I'm so glad trouble don't last always." To express their delight that troubles, tough times, and even hardship don't last forever. Started out pretty good. Babylonians, which we kind of went over some of this, the Babylonians took the Israelites captive. You know, God used the Babylonians to punish Israel, you know, for the sin of the kings they did way back. I can't remember which king it was, but we went over it in Sunday school. So the Babylonians, he used the Babylonians to punish them, but then on the other hand, he turned around and punished the Babylonians and let the Israelites go free, able to come back home again. Yes, God, the source of justice, does dish out retribution for wrong, but God, as the source of justice, also majors in restoration. We will discuss and discover this important precept in our lesson today. So we understand it. The source of justice is God. We all know that. We've been over that. The source of justice is God. But God dishes out retribution for wrong, and it also restores. But we kind of understand that because that's going to kind of be one of our main things today. Understand that God does tear down, but he also punishes, but he also builds back up. You know. I won't piggyback before I go further on some last week's lesson. I wasn't here to get to. I know Deacon Wilcox probably did a good job. But, you know, there's a few things I kept getting hung up on that toward the end. You know, Job repented. God said Job was good. And I kept wondering why Job felt like he had to repent. Kept looking there at it. Job kind of got to complaining a little bit, the situation he was going in. God still said it was good, but Job felt in his heart once he talked to God, I need to repent. Didn't do nothing wrong, but he knew that one little thing, I need to repent. I thought about us today. Well, me, sometimes, man, you think you're doing good, but then you might do one little thing wrong. Lord, forgive me. Lord, forgive me. I just want to point that little point out. But I thought about you last week. I wasn't able to make it, but that's a little point that kind of really stuck with me right there.
And
You know.
it's very important that we, repent and ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Me and Pastor John was talking this morning, it is different sources of different levels of spirituality. Because there was times, man, like I said, when I was coming up, it was hard for me to say I'm sorry. Even when somebody showed it to me,
Yeah.
it was just hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
And now as you get older, it doesn't become a whole, even when you think you might have trespassed against somebody, it's easy now to say, you know what, hey man, if I've done anything wrong, look here, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And it gets easier and easier, but it's like we were talking earlier, that pride's something else.
It is.
That pride's something else.
It is.
But God has a way though, man, of putting you in a situation where you don't have no choice.
We finna see right here today. That's a good point. That's what this lesson gonna be about. Think about it. In our modern reiterations and reenactments of justice, we do well with punishment and retribution. However, we tend to fall short on the concept of restoration and restorative justice. This is quite the misnomer because God majors in restorative justice in the Bible. In our lesson today, we will notice how God restores those whom he chastises because retribution and restoration are two sides of the same coin. Now, the coin with only one side is counterfeit. The system of justice without restoration is also counterfeit in God's sight. And, that's a true statement, And what brought my attention on that right there, you look at how God does tear down, but he also rebuilds, The children of Israel, the kings had done wrong way back, but he had to punish Israel because of what the sin they had done. But he did make a promise that he was going to rebuild and bring them back. That's just like us today, I'm thinking to myself, if somebody, just say go to jail or get in trouble, instead of beating them down, we need to try to help them, talk to them, help them, get them back on the feet if we can. Yeah.
A good, our parents showed that justice and
Yes, sir.
restoration.
Yes, sir.
When we was growing up.
Yes, sir.
They
Yes, sir.
might whoop you, jumping around, and crying.
Yeah.
Out the door,
Yeah.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
make you feel better, They might even cook your favorite cookie.
Yeah, might, yeah.
They had to do that punishment.
They'll do that punishment.
But afterwards,
Yeah,
they talk to you.
yeah.
At first, it was rough.
It's rough, man. And I'm gonna tell you something even go further than that. When you get older in your teenage years, I remember when I'm gonna use myself as an example. Mom and dad sitting there smoking cigarettes at the time. I said, y'all had $20? And they didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge me, kept looking at TV, smoking cigarette. That let me know right then I was on my own for money wise. I got old enough to, but that's just a tough love that they done. But it helped me. It helped me. It helped me. Even when I got older, when Dominique and Derek were talking about moving out at one time, and way back when she was living, I called her, we was talking. I said, Mom, I don't really know. She started laughing. She said, well, it ain't gonna hurt me to struggle for a little while. It didn't hurt y'all, did it? Y'all turned out all right. And I started laughing, but she told the truth. But I don't want them to struggle. But they're gonna have to struggle, you know what I mean? They're gonna have to figure it out on their own. But I'm just saying, just kind of what you were saying, that's just how it is.
Like you said a while ago, we're going to have to do that to our fellow brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They done did wrong.
Yeah.
Did you wrong sometimes. If they ready to turn their life around, start over, we got to help them.
We'll have to help them,
Try to build them back. If they show any kind of sign that they
Yeah,
want to try to do
yeah,
right,
yeah,
we got to try to build them up, try to get them
And that thing too, like he said, pride, we got to knock that down. God don't like that, And I'm like Deacon Hemingway, took me a while to get where I'm at now, but used to, somebody did me wrong, man, but that's how I was raised and how I was thought, but it shouldn't be that way. So I got to change my thinking on how I do things, even though it might hurt, but I got to swallow that and hey, I got to help them. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, in the introduction, it's a real piece of juicy meat here I don't want to look past.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this restorative justice and this restoration, which we spoke earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be counterfeit.
Yeah.
God is not counterfeit. He always does what he promised he'll do.
Mm-hmm.
He did allow the Babylonians to be the instrument of punishment to us for our disobedience to him.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the key too, even those that have been ordained to do a job, they were unnecessarily cruel. When you take people in our world today, judges, lawyers, crooked doctors, police,
Yeah.
God gives them that gift to be that.
Yeah.
But when they are unnecessarily cruel, you see what I mean? Take their job
Yeah.
way beyond what needs to be done. Then God frowns on them. You know what I mean? Because God put a police officer in a position to serve
And protect.
and protect.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
just like a doctor
Yeah.
have an oath that he must do. You know what I mean? When God makes you the instrument of a blessing and for him, and you take your job and make it unnecessarily cruel because you are the warden of a prison,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can actually dog somebody, or
Yeah.
you can belittle or hurt somebody, or allow people to be treated bad, God frowns on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because he puts you in a position to do a good job, and you use your ego
Yeah.
to take advantage
Yeah.
of people. God don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to come back on you.
And that happened a lot too.
Yeah,
It happened a lot. Workplace too.
Yeah, it do. It works.
Yeah.
If anybody put in position,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
lead and to guide and to be a good example, and you mess that up, God ain't pleased with that.
And that same thing, I've seen it in the workplace. You put somebody in, and boy, they'll lie to you.
Right.
I mean, me and you talking, they'll tell you one thing, and I'll be that gum, they go do something else.
Right.
But what do?
Let God have it.
Let God handle. I mean, you can't.
He definitely going to handle it.
You're gonna handle it, yeah. That's a good point. Thank you, Reverend Joe. Yeah. It is.
But look great on that.
Yeah, it do. Anybody got anything else? Okay, let's turn to page 61. We're gonna go to the King's Assist. Could I get a read on that?
In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, in order that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia, so that he sent a herald throughout all his kingdom, and also in a written edict declared, "Thus says King Cyrus of Persia, the Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdom of the earth, and he has charged me to build him a house at Jerusalem and Judah. And any of those among you who are of his people may their God be with them, are not permitted to go up to Jerusalem and Judah and rebuild the house of the Lord, the God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem. And let all survivors in whatever place they reside be assisted by the people of their place with silver and gold, with goods and with animals, besides free will offerings for the house of God in Jerusalem. The heads of the families of Judah and Benjamin and the priests and the Levites, everyone whose spirit God had stirred, got ready to go up and rebuild the house of the Lord in Jerusalem. All their neighbors aided them with silver vessels and with gold, with goods, with animals, and with valuable gifts, besides all that was freely offered. King Cyrus himself brought out the vessels of the Lord, of the house of the Lord, that Nebuchadnezzar had carried away from Jerusalem and placed in the house of his gods. King Cyrus of Persia had then released into the change of Mithridates, the treasurer, who counted them out to Shalmaneser, the prince total of the gold and silver vessels was 5,400. All these Shabazar brought up when the exiles were brought up from Babylon into Jerusalem.
All right, thank you. You know, I'm gonna talk about this first before we move to the next page. In the first year of King Cyrus of Persia, in order that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be accomplished, the Lord stirred up the spirit of King Cyrus of Persia, so that he sent a herald throughout all his kingdom, and also in a written edict declared. The Lord stirred up something in King Cyrus. You know, Jeremiah prophesied, and we just said earlier, the Lord's word going to come back void. He's not going to lie to you. So he used the king of Persia to make his word come about true. I think that's a real good point right there, you know. I know a lot of times we look at stuff, and I'm guilty of it too. Man, how am I going to make this? How am I going to do this? Until I sit there and think about it, you know, the Lord can do anything. You know, he can do anything for us. Like I said, we human, well, I am, you know. Like I said, I had to pray, you know, but God will handle it. God will handle it. Anybody got anything?
You know, it's kind of like faith. You know, faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
God, He will get your attention. Like you said, if something going wrong, and while we trying to figure it out, He already got it figured out. But what He does, like you said, we have to go through it. We have to go through it, and once you go through something, you know, it's like a lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? And it draws you closer to God because it makes you who you gonna go to.
You got nobody else to
Who
go
you
to.
gonna go to?
Ain't got nobody else to go to, you know.
Also, brother teacher, God can use anybody.
That's right. Yeah, he can.
He can use anybody. King Cyrus was a gentle non-believer. And God chose him to bring this, generate liberation and restoration, restore the Israelites.
Yeah.
Gave him the, bring this, generation, liberation and restoration.
And poured his spirit out on him. He poured his spirit out on him, you know. Yeah, he poured his spirit out on him, you know.
Bring this, generation, liberation and restoration.
Poured his spirit out on him. He poured his spirit out on him, you know. Yeah, he poured his spirit out on him, you know.
Bring this, generation, liberation and restoration.
Poured his spirit out on him. He poured his spirit out on him, you know. Yeah.
In this new building, a house, temple, they kept saying either house or temple, at the same place where they was pretty much destroyed.
Destroyed, yeah.
Humanity
Jerusalem,
was destroyed,
yeah.
everything. But God allowed them to come back.
Allowed them to come
and
back.
He used a non-believer to make it happen.
Sure did. That would make it so good. Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, so I like that. I really like that.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
God can use anybody.
Yeah, anybody.
You know, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's strange, you know, after you look in the mirror. You know, knowing what we used to do, what we used to do, and how the scheming and stuff that we used to do. Now, even if you think about that right now, man, it's like you know you said it.
Yeah, you know that's
what I mean?
wrong. Yeah, you know it's wrong.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
you know it's wrong. You know
and
it's wrong.
It
Yeah.
it's a blessing to know that God can use anybody.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of folks, you know, and like you said, I don't know why, that won't lift a finger for God. But then, you know, it's like you said, as soon as they get in the struggle, they want God. But the thing about it, we can't do nothing without Him.
We can't.
And it's like, and I be listening to Pastor Joe, and it's simple. You know, but you gotta want it. You know what I mean? You gotta want it. And you know, a lot of folks, man,
Like I said, God can use everybody, but like you said, you gotta be willing.
Gotta be willing. Yeah, gotta be willing.
King Cyrus rule over all of these
Yeah.
people, you know, and own all, you know, rule over all this land. You know, that give you the big head, you know.
Yeah, it will.
You know, you don't want to give away nothing. You don't want to show no weakness, you know. But you gotta be willing to do God's will, you know.
Well, you said something too, Deacon Wilcox, a couple of Sundays ago, and I made a comment. I remember that, and it stuck with me. You know, if we get some wealth, we need to share our wealth with people. You know, and that kind of looking at, I thought about that when I was reading this. King Cyrus is sharing the wealth. Let's bring these folks back together. Let these folks, everybody help. Yeah.
It's humbling yourself too.
Yeah.
You know, you look at people now. Like I football, he changed.
Yeah, they do something, yeah.
He wanna do like that commercial on TV, snap his finger, you disappear and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah. But what get me on that, and that's why I made the comment earlier about John, you know, I got a guy now, man, and me and him been buddies a long time. But you know, now he'll treat me right, me and him talk good. But I just, you know, I feel bad when he tell lies, you know. You know, and so I just don't say nothing.
A lot of, that's the way the society is.
Yeah, man.
It ain't no more lying in society no more. You gonna move up. You gotta be a good liar, you know.
Yeah, you do, and it's sad, man.
At least it seems that way.
You gotta be able to look a man in the eye and tell him a lie and not better than I, you know. Not bother you at all. Can't lose no sleep over this.
You about right.
No
If
conscience.
it bothers you, you ain't no good supervisor.
Yeah, man.
You gotta be a good one, man.
Yeah. We better move on, man. I got hung up.
There's another point right here too.
Yeah.
God made the Babylonians the instrument of punishment. They would have been an instrument of blessing too,
Yeah.
because he gave it to them.
Yeah.
He would have blessed the Babylonians if they wouldn't have taken advantage of his children. Like us, we are given to do right. And God took it away from the Babylonians, gave it to the Persians because they mistreated his children.
Yeah.
Same thing happens to those people who we was talking about earlier when he gives them positions to do good, and they do wrong.
Yeah.
God eventually takes that position
Away.
away. from them. Yeah.
They have to,
That's
they
good.
fail to recognize and realize it's obedience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to obey God.